Hi, so in this video clip you get to see me working live with a dog. This video was taken at the Royal Veterinary College while I was giving a presentation to some of the students, and I was working with this dog, and you'll see the beginning of the session here where I want to introduce myself to the dog and be able to work with him, but his caregiver has also described him as being shy of men, and as I start moving around near the front you'll see that he's ignoring me. He turns away, looks towards his caregiver, playing like elephant in the room. I can't see Chirag, but you'll get to see how we're able to build up his confidence and trust to want him. So he wants to come and say hello to me. He wants to come and work with me, and I'm able to do that in a way that gives him control and takes pressure off him. So hopefully this is useful, and it can be used as a way of saying hello to dogs in different situations as well. Then I'm just going to wait for a second. And if I do want to try and say I'm here, then I might do that with some more distance. So I'm quite close to him. He can hear me, he can smell me, he can see me. And he might be either choosing to avoid me, or he might be going like, why is that leg so interesting right now and there's a scary stranger trying to talk to you? So what I could do is just maybe go and talk to the wall over here and go, oh, hi wall, how are you? And then like offer the wall some treats. Oh, yum, yum, yum. And then I might even walk away from that and just go to another spot and just see what the animal does for a second. And so talking to a wall may seem funny, but what it does is it takes the pressure off the dog. So rather than talking to the dog and saying, hi, I've got a treat, look at me, but the dog's already trying to say, I don't see you, I'm ignoring you. So I can actually just walk away, talk to something else, and it gets the dog's interest, and the dog kind of goes, oh, what's going on over there? And it takes the pressure off me having a conversation with the dog directly. I like that them watching actively, like he's choosing to ignore me there. He's like, I'm just going to stay over here and look this. And so rather than coming into space, it's going to give him a few minutes to look at that. And then what I might try again is doing it in another spot and just leaving a little present for him and walking away. So he can walk up in his own time rather than coming towards something. He may not. Now his nose is going and he just needed a moment. So just let his leash go for a second. Perfect. So it looked like nothing was happening, but actually there's a lot happening. And he's not blind, he's not deaf, unless he is. And so
that's this dog. Yeah.
He looked that direction, but he's making an active choice to stay there, looking that way. And the function of that could be escape or avoidance. So if I don't allow him to meet that function, that can cause more anxiety. So while he's sniffing there, what I could do is have something over here and do it here. I don't want to walk in that direction, because if I walk in the space, and again this happens a lot in small spaces, is you have a dog, you try to walk in, the dog's already there, and the dog then backs behind the owner's leg. And you're not physically forcing the dog, but what you're doing is you're using your physical space to push the dog out of the way. And so what's happening is the dog starts to go, oh, you're even more scary. So early on in interaction, I don't want to be seen with the dog to be pushy. I want to be inviting. And so even if I stood up and walked. So what I'm saying there is sometimes when we approach a dog or we try to walk past them, or even if we're trying to move away around the side of the dog, as we move our body and the dog perceives the movement towards them, the dog backs away or like hides behind their caregiver. So even if we're trying to give the dog space, if we're moving in a direction where the dog physically has to move away, then that could also be a dog trying to go, I'm already trying to move away, and now that person keeps moving around, so I have to keep moving even more further away. So the dog almost might feel more anxious, like they're being chased. So we always want to be careful how we're moving around in a space when we have a dog who's slightly unsure or wants more space. We don't want to be moving our body in a way where the dog constantly has to be going, I have to duck out the way. Even if we're not moving right directly towards the dog might perceive it that way. Even if I stood up and walked towards him to offer him a treat, he might go, oh, you're scary. So I don't want to force that interaction. So what I might do is over here somewhere, so you may be wondering what I'm doing right there. I'm just tearing up some cardboard so I can put some treats on there because I'm using a paste that you can spread. I don't want to go all over the carpet, and so I'm just trying to find something to put the paste on.
What's he doing?
It's like that paper was so interesting. And then I'm going to just walk away. And also as he approaches, I'm going to move away while he's in the most confident approach. If I wait here until he gets close to me and then he's doing all of this, I'm kind of moving away and rewarding him with space for nervous behaviour. Whereas what I actually want is to build confidence. So if I actually walk away and get up while he's while he's more confident, so if I'm over here and I'm putting a treat down, as he approaches I walk away. He gets rewarded by good things happening from me, but he also gets space and relief. So I can use both together to actually build his drive to move towards me. So you may be thinking, why not just work in a bigger space? This was a demonstration for looking at working with dogs in smaller spaces like a veterinary consult room where you may not have space. And obviously if you can, working in the car park somewhere else might be great. But if you don't, then you can work in this way. And so in the beginning, also with dogs, we tend to go to a dog, hi, and talk to them. That's just really alien for a lot of dogs, and actually a lot of dogs don't enjoy it. What they start to do is they start to like jump up and do all the excitement behaviour, but it's not happy. It's almost like, I really don't know what to do, I'm just fighting about. And so many dogs come into a room and they jump everywhere, and if you just ignore them, they go off and actually find space elsewhere. And because they've learned that I have to people often in my space, so I do all of this like jumpy, farty behaviour. It's not happy behaviour. Also, by feeding on the floor, the dog has less pressure to take treats from my hand. So if I feed on the floor, you get licky mats as well. I love licky mats, so we just have licky mats and just pop some food on there. Just watch out the dog doesn't guard. So like as I'm putting food down, I'm watching his face and watching his expression to make sure it's not stiffening up. Some dogs will guard around your hand, so you can ask the caregiver, how's your dog if I put my hand near when you try to take his bone or stuff like that. And if obviously the dog guards, and don't have your hand next to the dog. Also notice, when did I give him a treat there? Yeah, when he is saying, give me a treat. Yeah. So rather than when he's distracted going, here, do you want a treat? And he's already saying, like, I don't want a treat. I'm actually waiting for him to give me eye contact. And so it's like you're flirting at someone at the bar. You like, rather than just staring at them and they're like, oh my god, you're weird. Like, they glance at you, then you glance back. So you're having a conversation with your eyes. So he glanced at me, and then I glance back at him. So almost he's like, oh, I have control in this conversation. It's not about someone just forcing themselves on me. When I say for the dog to give eye contact, I don't necessarily mean eye to eye. I just mean wait for the dog to look in my direction. Could be looking at towards my body, just in my general direction, not in my eyes. Also, notice how I give the treat. When I give the treat, rather than looming too on him, as that pushes him back, I'll feed to the side, which keeps him coming forward. And so, yes, I'm leaning a little bit, but look how forward he's coming, as opposed to if I went this way, I push him back with the treat. So that a little game like this can be just teaching a dog to follow you around the consult room can make a big difference. And if you've got paste, the good thing about paste is you can just spread it on the walls. And so the dog isn't having to take it from your hand. You can also get a spoon. I tend to use like rubber spoons as opposed to some of the wooden spoons or metal spoons so it doesn't split. Here I'm referring to like the longer baking spoons. And lick some food on there, and then they can just take it out of the spoon as opposed to taking it from your hand if you've got a dog who's slightly nervous. Good boy. And so now I've made friends with him, I can start to maybe look at if I wanted to do like a body touch or something with him. Also, one of the things I try to build is confidence, not closeness. So a lot of times people try and bring the dog in with the food, and a dog can take the food and then snap at you. So what I really want is a dog having confidence, but they don't have to be close to me. So in the beginning, when I give the treat, notice I keep my hand like this, and so there's a bit of space. And then what I could easily do is if I just feed them in that spot, they start learning staying in that spot is good. And then I might just move my hand a little bit and give them a treat. I can move my hand a little bit and give them a treat. So when I say move hand a little bit, in the beginning you can even start with just a little finger movement. When you're moving your hand, you only want to move it in a way that the dog's comfortable, and then you can move it a little bit more, then you can move it a little bit more. So always move it just a tiny bit and then start to approximate bigger and bigger movements. If at any point you move your hand and the dog tenses up or shows any aggressive behaviors, it says to us that we need to have a smaller step, so move our hand less. Might move my hand a little bit and give them a treat. Now that's different to having the treat and then touching the dog, which can work, but sometimes if they realise you're touching them and the food is not valuable, they'll turn around and snap at you, and then in the future they'll go, wait, if you hold food in front of me, you're going to do something bad, so I'm not going to take the food. What's happening here is I'm moving my hand first, then he's getting the treat. So he's learning, hand moves towards him slowly, good things happen. So it's not a trick. And then I can work towards maybe doing a leash touch and then giving him a treat. Leash touch and then give him a treat. And if he backs away or he starts to show me signs that he's unhappy, then I just move my hand back to my lap. Leash touch and then treat. Leash touch, treat. Good. And then treat. And even a game like this, in a puppy party, why it's useful is for pet owners. How many people have issues putting a puppy's lead on without the puppy biting them? Like it's like a simple thing, but for you it's going to be a useful vet exam. For the groomer it's going to be grooming. For the owner they're going to be able to medicate their dog, like frontline or whatever they need to do. And so what can be useful is for the owner they're going to be motivated to do this. Because if you go, we want to practice ear touches, they're like, my dog's already happy with the ear look. Whereas if you sell this as a, look how easy it is to put the lead on and off, owners are going to go home and practice. And then the side effect is you can use it for, now I'm going to touch your back, give you a treat. Now I'm going to poke you with a pen and give you a treat. So I'm not suggesting you go poking your dogs with a pen, please don't. What I'm suggesting in a training plan, working with a trainer, we use sometimes objects like pens or cocktail sticks as an approximation to a needle for an injection training. Now I'm going to touch your ear, give you a treat. Now I'm going to open your ear a little bit, give you a treat, and you can build up, like looking at the dog in small steps, just doing that. Thank you. But notice, like from the beginning where he was like, oh, I'm just going to avoid you, to now where he's actually actively staying here. And also his body isn't standing there leaning away. Some dogs will stand there and kind of push themselves back. He's actually keeping quite good weight on the front and keeping his body there. So a little trick like that can make a big difference when a dog comes in. If you meet them in the car park, rather than the concert room and play the game on the way, they're like, oh, I want to follow that person and get to them. So that can make a big difference as well. Thank you.